Hello, and welcome to the In My 20s and Tired podcast, where I talk about the struggles of going through your 20s. Because, I'm in my 20s and I'm tired. Anyway, today is episode number 8, and I'm gonna talk about how to choose a career if you are interested in like 1,000 things. Because that is me. I have so many interests, I have so many ideas and inspiration, and I find it really hard to pick one career option and to stick with it, because I'm gonna go into this, what I have gone through, and then give you tips on how you can choose more efficiently than I did. But I am currently studying to become a teacher. I am in my 3rd year, and then next school year is gonna be my final year, and I'm gonna graduate from college, which is really exciting. But also, this quarantine has really made me doubt whether I want to be a teacher, because I haven't been teaching and I haven't been able to actually do what I want to do. So it makes my motivation pretty much at an all-time low. But yeah, before I go into all of that, I am gonna give like a sort of a personal update, and I'm gonna grab my phone real quick because I have the Animal Crossing New Horizons guide on here, and because I just want to talk about Animal Crossing for a little bit. So I'm not really sure when I got it. I know that we bought the Nintendo Switch Lite when they were about to sell out. So we were really lucky that we decided in time to purchase a Nintendo Switch. We chose the Lite version. And I have been playing literally every day since. I haven't been playing super much every day. We both did in the beginning, but now we kind of have our island settled for the most part. I have done most of the drastic terraforming, and now I'm just trying to decorate and find pretty places or just ways to make my island pretty. And I actually have a few ideas, just real quick, if you have, if you play Animal Crossing. So I created an outdoor gym, which I thought was really cool, with the stone floor, the stone path, and then the stone wall around it, and it looks really cool. I am, by the way, so happy with this new update that we get shrubs and hedges. I'm just so excited. And I made a little bit of a music area, as if a band could come and play, and that is what I made. I made a bunch of flower gardens, which are both pretty, so they are for decoration, but they're also functional because I made them in a way that I can crossbreed the flowers that I need to crossbreed. Let's see, what else did I make? I made a little pool area. I made, with the stalls, I made like sort of a farmer's market, so that is really cute. And I wanted to share the residents that I have, because apparently I have gotten pretty lucky for most of them. And there are only a few that I want to get rid of. And I got rid of one. I already got rid of Pinky, which is like a bright pink bear who was just, I don't know, I didn't like her. And the other bear that I have that I want to get rid of is Ursula. She is the one that I had from the beginning with Dom the sheep, which is a weird one because he's a jock and he can only talk about sports and running, and it's just pretty annoying. I think the jocks are really annoying. But other than Ursula and Dom, I have Marshall, the cutest squirrel, and when I saw him for the first time, I was like, oh, you look really grumpy, but he's really adorable and he's really sweet and I like him so much. He's one of my favorites. Another favorite is Bertha. I've seen her at a bunch of islands and she's just really sweet. She's really cute as well. Then I also got Apollo, which apparently, this is the first time that I've played Animal Crossing, by the way, but apparently Apollo is a very popular character, or he is one of the OGs. Then I have, and I'm not really sure how to pronounce this, but Merengue, which is, oh God, I don't know what kind of animal she is, but like with the horn on the nose. And it is basically a strawberry, her horn, and it's really, really cute. Then I also got a rabbit named Ruby, which is funny because I'm named Ruby, and apparently in the game they don't know that you have the same name, so that is funny. Then I got Clyde, which is a very ugly and creepy horse, and it's not fair because my boyfriend finally got rid of him on his island, and then I didn't know that they were gonna pick a villager for me if I didn't find a new one in time. And this was when I was being busy. I have no idea what I was doing because we're in quarantine, but apparently I didn't have time to play Animal Crossing, and they gave me Clyde. Then I also have Elvis, which is sort of a grumpy lion. Not really a fan of him. And then another one of my favorites is Sherp, the goat, which is really, really cute. So those are the villagers or the residents that I have, and I'm really, really happy with it. So I'm very sorry if you don't like Animal Crossing. You just either already clicked out of the episode, I'm sorry, or you listened to me ramble on about this thing that you just don't really care about. Anyway, other updates. Starting last week, I've started working out again. I have been really bad about working out and moving my body, and I've noticed that in sluggishness, in my mental health, but also in form of gaining weight. I wouldn't call myself fat at all, but I have gained weight and I don't like it. And my boyfriend has been working out as well, and I decided that I also wanted to go work out. So I had a few video workouts that I follow. I really like Eamon and Beck. They are a couple that travels with their camper van. They actually just recently got back to Canada, but they last month, I think, or in the month of March maybe, they uploaded challenges, or they did a 28-day workout challenge, and they uploaded, I think, 28 workouts to their Plus channel, so Eamon and Beck Plus. And I've been really enjoying their workouts because most of them are just 10 minutes. They also uploaded a yoga workout, which I've been really enjoying. I usually am not a fan of online yoga workouts because I feel like they are very spiritual and like up in the air, and I don't like that. I am very down to earth, I would say. So I didn't think I would like yoga, but the way that I have only done the 10-minute yoga workout from them, but I really enjoy it. It's not spiritual at all. It's just very relaxing, and it just warms me up, and it gives me some good stretches. And one of my goals for this whole working out thing is to build strength and flexibility. I really want to be more flexible because right now I am about as flexible as a freaking brick. So I want to improve on that. What else can I say? Okay, if you are like a nerd like I am, I have been uploading videos on my main YouTube channel on my bullet journal. So I have a bullet journal and I love it so much. If you don't know what a bullet journal is, it's basically a notebook in which you keep to-do lists for every day, and it's basically like an embellished, highly embellished to-do list notebook. So for me, I have spreads in my notebook for each month, and then for all the weeks in a month, I created all kinds of cutesy little stuff to make myself more organized and more motivated to be organized and to be productive. And I have noticed that it has helped so much this quarantine to just write down every little thing that I want to do. If I want to put in a load of laundry, I write it down. If I want to vacuum, which I don't ever want to do, but I will write it down. When I want to film a video, I write down that I want to film a video, and I write down what video I want to film. I write down when I want to edit it, when I want to upload it, and it just kind of creates like a whole list of very small things, and I get to keep crossing it off, and it feels so nice to just cross off some stuff. And I'll write down working out. I'll even write down playing Animal Crossing, check the turnip prices, I just write down everything, and I've been really enjoying it. And that leads me, like the bullet journal thing leads me to the fact that I bought 2 more notebooks, because one bullet journal isn't enough. I really wanted to start a journal for my writing. This is something that I'm gonna get into with the main topic, but I have this feather tattooed on my wrist, which looks really weird when I do it like this, but when I put my arm like this, it is straight, but you can't see. And it's a feather, which is basically a quill, because on my right wrist, because I'm right-handed, and I have loved to write. I've loved writing ever since I was 8 years old. I haven't been doing it consistently, of course, but I have always wanted to be a writer, and I have so many story ideas and so much inspiration for stories, and I love to write. I even did a freaking journalism study, which I have a diploma for, but for some reason I just can't seem to stick to one story idea and to write it all out and to have it published. But I really want to do that, so I created a writing journal, and I wrote down all kinds of writing tips, how to write out a plot, because that is something that I do struggle with. And I once bought a writer's course, an at-home course, so I recently read it all, or read most of it, and wrote down the most important tips that I thought were interesting and important to me. And I just put together my writing journal. I wrote down some ideas that I had for novels, mostly like shorter novels. So I'm really excited to start working on those. And I also got a separate journal to just write down everything astrology related. I really want to get to the bottom of my birth chart, what it all means, what the movement of the planets mean for my life. And like, I'm not really a spiritual person, like I said, but for me, astrology isn't really spiritual, because to me it's kind of factual, if that makes sense. If you are not into astrology at all and you think it's a load of crap, then you might think that it is spiritual. I used to think that astrology was pretty spiritual, but I don't know, I think there's really something to it. I don't really think it's the same as religion. Anyway, I bought this journal because I just want to write it all down and do some pretty collaging and just be creative with it, because that is what I've been doing with my bullet journal as well, and it has been really, really helping me stay productive and sane throughout everything. And from that, I wanted to go into is it an announcement? Not really. But I want to create a second channel where I upload my bullet journal videos, because I used to create a lot of bullet journal videos on this, or not on this podcast channel, but on my main channel. And those always did so well. I got always over 100, more than a few hundred views on those. Probably like few thousand views on those videos, and I really enjoyed creating them. And now that I'm into bullet journaling again, honestly, creating bullet journal videos is really not that hard, but it is really, really fun to do for me. So I thought that I would give that a shot. So if you are interested in bullet journaling and you want to check out my new channel, let's see, this podcast episode goes up on Sunday, and I want to upload new videos on this bullet journal channel every Monday. maybe Monday and then another day, but I'm not sure. But Monday, let's see, I named it Bujo from a Nerd. I will link to my channel in the description box below. Yeah, let's see. I have already rambled on for 15 minutes, but I also wanted to talk about one more thing, which isn't really personal, but more Dutch related. And that is that the day that I'm uploading this, it is the May 3rd. So tomorrow will be May 4th. And if you're not from the Netherlands, you're like, yeah, that's correct, whatever. But May 4th is the day that we memorize, or we have memorials, like countrywide memorials for the people who have died in World War II. And then the day after that, May 5th, is like we celebrate our freedom from the war, and it will have been 75 years since we got our freedom from the war. So I don't know, I just kind of wanted to mention that because it is such a long time ago. Yeah, it is such a long time ago, and I wasn't there obviously to experience it all. My grandpa was. Had some wild stories about war. I think he was about 7 years old. I think he once talked about stealing food or stealing something from a cart or wherever for his family, and it was really, I can't imagine what it was like for him to live through that. I will definitely have to visit him after this is all over, because he has just had heart surgery, so I don't feel comfortable visiting him right now. But yeah, I can't wait to visit him and just ask him all sorts of questions, because my grandpa has lived a very, very interesting life. Okay, I think I'm gonna keep it at that for the personal update. I'm gonna have a quick little break, and then I'm gonna talk about how to choose a career when you are interested in like 1,000 things. So stay tuned. Welcome back. For you, it has only been 4 to 5 seconds. But now I want to talk about how to choose a career, and I want to talk about my experience a little bit first. So I have been very unlucky in like my career path, because to give you a little timeline, I am 26 right now. Let me see. I was 17 when I was in my last year of high school. And I wanted to quit high school the year before because I was in like a high enough high school level. The Dutch education system is kind of complicated if you don't know about it, but I was pretty much in like a high enough high school level that if I quit high school, I could still do like a lower level college degree. And there were a bunch of lower level college studies that I was very interested in, but my parents didn't let me because they wanted me to get this high school diploma, and they just didn't want to think about other options for me, even though I really, really, really wanted to quit. And this is kind of when I was 16 was when when like depression first hit me. And I didn't pass like any of my final exams in my last year of college except for one. I literally got like, okay, so we have this grading system from 1 to 10. 10 is perfect, flawless. 1 is, wow, you did a shitty job. So you need a 5.5 because it rounds up to a 6, and that is the lowest grade that you can have to actually get like, or to not fail it, basically. So the only final that I actually got was one that I got a 5.5 for. But I didn't study for my finals because I didn't I just didn't want to do it. I was so stubborn. Like, I can't believe what kind of a nightmare I must have been for my parents, but they didn't let me do what I really, really, really wanted to do, which was quit high school and do a study to study for something that I was actually interested in. So I actually, the next school year, I did a few months of like community high school, you could say something like that. It was like high school for adults who only had to follow a couple of classes, because no way I was gonna do the year over at that high school that I was at. And I was 18 and I said, this is not what I want to do. I am going to work full time now at some shitty job, and I'm going to figure out what I want to study next year. And because I have so many interests, there were so many things that I wanted to do. I wanted to do graphic design. I ended up doing a year of it was such a shitty study, but it was leisure and hospitality executive. So that literally means nothing at all. We learned how to organize like a camp for the other students. That is what we learned. That is all that I learned, and I already kind of knew that. Can you hear my neighbors? I think they're having a party, which is kind of weird, but not my job to judge. But they are really loud. Like, can you? I am trying to create a podcast here. So I did that for a year, and I was really miserable at it because it was too easy for me, and it was just not something that I wanted to do. Then the year after that, I didn't have a break year, but I started my journalism study, which was the same like degree level as the leisure and hospitality, but it was way more fun. It was way more challenging. The level was definitely higher there, and it was really fun to do. I did some internship. I interned at local newspaper, not like local to here, but local somewhere here in the Netherlands. And it was really fun. And then my last internship was at a local TV station, and I got to produce TV programs, and I got to interview people for TV, and it was just so much fun, but I got overwhelmed. I got burned out. If you remember last week's episode, I talked about my experience with burnout. And then I had 1 year where I didn't do anything. Well, I mean, I worked almost full time, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had many options. I decided to take a course on being a life coach. Don't ask me why I thought I would be a good life coach. And it was in this time that I thought, if you have a talent or a hobby, you should find a way to monetize it. You should find a way to create a side hustle out of it. And I am way over that stupid mindset right now. Because if you have a hobby and you try to monetize it, it's not going to be a hobby anymore. It's not going to be as much fun and free to do that. So that is not something that I'm going to advise you in this podcast. So I ended up doing a study to become a teacher, and that is what I'm still doing. And after I finish this study, I will teach for at least the year after I graduate. But I don't know how long I'm gonna be in this, because there are, like I said, there are so many things that I would love to do. So I wrote down a couple of like future possible career ideas for myself. And besides being a teacher, I would love to be a writer. Like I said, I don't think I could do that full time, because I don't think I have it in me to push through to be a writer full time. Like, that is hard. But also a hairdresser. I would love to be a hairdresser. I really like playing with hair. I did my boyfriend's hair. I did like a fade on him, and it turned out really, really nice. he got compliments on it because he actually got to go back to work for a little bit, for a few hours, and it was really nice. But he got tons of compliments on his haircut. I would love to combine being a hairdresser with a makeup artist. That would be fun. And another thing is that I'm not interested in this all the time, but sometimes I have this thing that I think I would do great in politics, because I think I can have a very outspoken opinion, but I don't feel the need to convince others of me being right. I'm not really sure what that has to do with politics, but I just feel like many people who are in politics here in the Netherlands are assholes, and I just want to be like one of those non-assholey people who actually genuinely cares about people and who wants to make this an even better place to live. I used to think that living in the US would be so amazing and that living in the Netherlands sucked. But now that I'm a little bit older and I know a little bit more about how everything works, I think the Netherlands is a great place to live, and I think we are so lucky to live here and the way that everything works here. But I think that we could definitely do better, and I would love to contribute to that. But then, I don't think I could actually work in politics, but you never know. So now you know what kind of struggles I went through. And maybe you've been listening to this and you're like, yeah, I have no idea what to do with my life either. So I created a couple of steps for you, and I'm just going to go through them. It's also what I did to find out, to kind of think about what I wanted to do, and I ended up with teacher. So step 1 is to write down all your talents, everything you're good at or things that you think you could be really good at. So sometimes, I didn't know how to teach before I got into my teaching study. I knew I was good with kids, but teaching is something that you have to learn on a study. So anything that you think you could be good at, write it down. Anything that you already are good at, write it down. Then step 2, write down your wants. So what do you want to get out of a job? Do you want a 9-to-5 job? Do you want flexible work hours? Do you want to travel for your job? Do you want to have a job that is close to home? Do you want to have, a lot of free time? Do you want to work full-time, part-time? Anything that you want with your jobs. Do you want to work with children? You are good with children, but do you really want to work with children? So just write down everything you want out of a job. Then the third step is to look at your talents, look at your wants, and write down any profession that you can think of, even the ones that you're like, hell no, that I'm gonna do that. Just write everything down. That is kind of the thing that just brain dump as much as you can. Just write down all the possible occupations, professions that you can think of that have to do, for instance, with kids, working in a hospital with kids, working with kids that have problems, like therapists or social workers, teachers. What else can you do? Daycare, anything. Just write down anything. And you might have to do a little bit of research for this. You can maybe Google jobs to work with children, or jobs you can do part-time, jobs for traveling, anything. Just write it all down. And then from that whole list, step 4 is to create a long list. So you're going to do a little bit of research. What do you actually have to do for some of these jobs? Research it, and anything that you think might be interesting, you put it on your long list. And this is a long list. It's okay if it is long, if there are too many professions on here. Maybe on your long list, try to strive to 20 professions. If you are like me and you have so many interests, then 20 is not a lot. You can also say like, okay, I'm gonna cut it down to maybe 15 for the long list. And then step 5 is to create a short list. So you're gonna look at, okay, what is realistic for me to do? What is something that I can actually do? Like, it fits my talents. I think I can do this. There's maybe a study on this that I can follow. Just kind of create criteria for yourself and create your short list like that. So again, you're gonna have to do a little bit more research. Then step 6, and I mean, for the short list, I would put like 5 to 10 professions on your short list, and some of them kind of may overlap. So just think for yourself how many jobs you want to have on that short list. And then step 6 is to conduct informational interviews. Look up people who have that profession that you have on your short list and try to get them for an interview. Try to ask them if you can follow them for a day on their job, if they wouldn't mind. If you would love to be a journalist, ask your local newspaper or TV station if you could go there for a day, just kind of see how it all works. If you can follow a journalist for a day, just try to find as much information as you need. Maybe you want to go to like an open house, open day is what we call it here in the Netherlands, for a study that you might have to follow for a certain profession. Just get as much information as you need to make an educated decision. Because step 7 is to choose your career, which is weird. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but if you have all the information and you know what it actually looks like and is like to be a hairdresser, to be in daycare, to be a teacher, I think you can make a much more educated decision. And sometimes, you don't have to choose a career for the rest of your life. Like, I know that I am not going to be a teacher for the rest of my life, but I hope to get at least a few teaching years in before I change careers, because I just know that I have too many interests to be teaching for the rest of my life. Yeah, that is kind of everything that I want to talk about. I feel like I rambled on for like my personal update for way longer than the actual main topic of today's episode. But you know what? I got everything out that I wanted to. I think I got it out pretty well. Sometimes I feel like I'm struggling a little bit to find the correct words because English is not my native language. But I think I did pretty well. I actually filmed another video before this in which I was also talking. So I think I kind of got warmed up there. So yeah, okay, we have gotten to the end of the episode. If you want to subscribe to this podcast, you can do so on YouTube. You can go to anchor.fm/in-my-20s-and-tired to subscribe on Anchor. You can subscribe on Spotify. All the links will be on Anchor. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put all the links that you need to subscribe to the audio versions of this podcast in the description. I'll also link to my YouTube channel and my new YouTube channel, of course, on bullet journaling. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. If there's anything that you want to add to today's episode, feel free to comment down below or send me an email. I'll have the email address in the description as well. Yeah, just thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it, and I hope you'll tune in next time.